It's time. It's Swain Event time.
My man.
It is time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dad and Barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Give me 2 laps and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. It is Tuesday, November the 4th. I'm Jason Swain, live in the Low T Center studio, joined by my brother, good friend, Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. Man, how did it feel to be back inside of Neyland Stadium, my man? Good morning.
It felt really good. It felt really, really good, and a perfect game to come back for in terms of the environment and the pregame show and all the in-game production. As we discussed on Thursday, I mean, that is as good of an environment as you are going to find in college football. I know some were voicing their opinion that it wasn't as loud as it could be or should be. I think that the team had a lot to do with that and with their performance as the game wore on. But pregame, first quarter, kind of before the team started to really shoot itself in the foot, I thought, I mean, that's as good of an environment as you're going to find in college football. And it was really cool to see some of the Oklahoma media members I follow on Twitter just be blown away by Neyland Stadium itself, the cathedral that it is, the scene outside of the stadium, the scene pregame inside the stadium. When you're blessed to be able to go to every game like I am because of my job, you tend to take that for granted. And life has made sure that I do not take that for granted this football season. And, again, not to get too sappy, but like I said on Thursday, I stared at the front of Neyland Stadium from UT Medical Center through a window for 2 months. So to finally be in the stadium and have to sit at home and watch them run out of the tee on television when I wanted to be in the stadium doing what I love to do, man, it felt really good to be back in the stadium. So frustrating game, a lot to nitpick, rightfully so, and we'll certainly do that for the next hour and a half plus. But it felt really, really good to be back inside Neyland Stadium on Saturday night.
And excuse me, this morning, my voice and everything. I ain't gonna complain, considering what you just talked about, what you went through the last couple of months. So, but excuse my voice for those that can tell that I sound a little bit different. But I was dreading this show, this type of show. I was hoping that it wouldn't, get to this point. But there were signs over the last couple of years. And, here we are. I like what we're doing with our football program and have since 2021. But there's some conversations to be had about why Saturday happened the way it happened. And some of these conversations have already been had. Yesterday on Joshua Swain, I shared my thoughts. We'll do the same here. I know some folks listening here don't listen there. And so I'll be saying some of the same things. There's going to be some people who don't like it. And that's too bad. Because we all have eyeballs and we see what's going on. And it's going to be said. We'll get to the Beatty Chevrolet text box during the show. We'll answer questions. We will take your phone calls. The Garza Law Hotline. That number is 865-255-03. What we saw out there in the football field Saturday, Ben, was a soft football team. A football team that got pushed around in the trenches. A football team that played hard most of the time. But a football team that was pushed around. This is not the first time this season that's happened. Even in the win against Kentucky, you pushed around and unable to run the football. Pushed around against Alabama, pushed around against Georgia when it mattered. And I don't blame the players on this because they're doing what they're told to do. This is a mentality issue that is created by strength and conditioning. The discipline is not there. It hasn't been there the way it needs to be for multiple years. We have looked at the stat sheet and go, oh, man, look, Tennessee, again, more penalties than the opponent. Oh, here we go again, man. Tennessee is shooting themselves. It's a reason for that. We don't have any discipline. Not at a championship level. Not where it needs to be. Oklahoma pushed our you-know-what in on Saturday. Tennessee is a more talented football team than Oklahoma. I don't want to hear anything about us being young. Us being the youngest team in the SEC. Because you and I know, Ben, you shouldn't be the youngest team in the SEC in year 5. We're in that position because of the 2023 recruiting class not being where it needed to be after a monumental season in 2022 when you're supposed to go out there and snatch bodies in recruiting. We didn't do a good job of doing that. And because of that, you had some players that you brought in, didn't work out, they left, and now you're forced with playing all these freshmen. Some of those freshmen made some huge critical errors on Saturday. And so this conversation is not about firing the head coach. We're not having that conversation. I understand in the heat of the moment, folks don't say that, and most of y'all don't even believe that, don't even want that to happen. You're just emotional Saturday, and I get it because Saturday was unacceptable. But Josh Heupel doesn't need to be fired. Josh Heupel needs to be better. It's that simple. We don't need Kurt Herbstreit lecturing Tennessee fans. We don't need national media lecturing Tennessee fans. Josh Heupel needs to be better. That's really it. He just needs to be better. He doesn't need to be fired. He's done some great things. He has the opportunity to continue to do great things, but he's going to have to evolve. He's going to have to get better. He's going to have to surround himself with better people. It is what it is. And if he refuses to do that, then another conversation can be had down the road. But that's where we are right now, Ben, is people with eyeballs see the lack of discipline, the lack of toughness, the tackling is an issue. It's a problem. I'm to the point where I don't even want to watch Blue Carter play football. It's so frustrating. That whole situation was mismanaged, and it impacts this football team. We see it week in and week out, and I'm tired of looking at it, to be honest. But that's another issue. But, Ben, I'll shut up. We got 2 phone calls. I'm not upset. I wasn't upset yesterday talking about this. But I'm just to the point where we just going to talk about what's going on, what we see. And go from there. Have a conversation about it. But Ben, your overall thoughts, maybe on the popcorn up there, or the sodas, or what you saw out there at the football game, or agree or disagree with what I've said. The floor is yours, my man.
I'll be quick since there's two phone callers, but I don't disagree with anything that you said. I just think that there's a lot of little issues that are adding up to one big issue, and that's that you're not beating anybody worth their salt. I mean, who have you beaten this season that's a good football team? The last two seasons, the only good football team that you've beaten is Alabama. And I mean, what about going back to Joe Milton's season, 2023? I mean, was there a good football team they beat that year? Was Texas A&M the D Williams punt return game? Was that their best win in 2023?
That was the best win in 23.
I mean, outside of the Alabama win last year, who have you really beaten the last three seasons?
And looked good and looked how you're supposed to look.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so really since the Clemson win in the Orange Bowl, you haven't beaten, outside of the Alabama game, you haven't beaten anybody good and look like you're supposed to look along the way. And you know, part of that is just circumstances with the schedule. Tennessee has caught a break with the schedule the last couple of years by SEC football standards. And look, you give Josh Heupel a lot of credit for beating the teams that he should beat, because there was a long time where Tennessee couldn't even beat the teams that they should beat and beat the bad teams in the league. So that is a compliment that they don't lose games that they're not supposed to. Like you mentioned, Oklahoma. Tennessee is more talented than Oklahoma. I think we could argue that point of everything that you said. That might be the only thing we could go back and forth on. But even then, we'd be splitting hairs. I like that defense. It's just kind of where my mind goes, quite frankly. But Oklahoma, like even whether Oklahoma has more talent than Tennessee or not, like that is a program that you should be beating at the moment with how they have struggled offensively, and you just were not able to take advantage of that. So I don't have much else to add to what you said, because I agree with basically all of it. And I know we've got two phone calls, but the narrative around Josh Heupel is ridiculous. I guess that would be my main thought this morning, and kind of something that's been lingering in my head the last couple of days. And I really haven't seen Tennessee fans calling for Josh Heupel's job. I think a lot of Tennessee fans are saying that Josh Heupel needs to make changes, and people are maybe misconstruing that into thinking that they are saying that Josh Heupel should be let go. I don't think any realistic Tennessee fan actually believes that Josh Heupel should be let go, like you said. But I think there's plenty of reasons to fairly be frustrated and to want some things to change around here, in order for Tennessee to look more like that team that played in 2023 than the team that we've seen the last 3 years.
We'll get into more of that. First, let's get to the phone lines, 865-250-503, Garza Law hotline, garzalaw.com. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. It's Mississippi Vol.
Mississippi Vol, man. Good morning. I hate that I missed you this weekend.
It's all good, man. I know you had a job to do, brother. I got two concerns about this football team. One, I don't think we have recruited at the linebacker position as well as we should have, because I've seen a lot of mishaps at that position Saturday. I am not calling for anybody's job. I just think Josh needs to make some changes, especially on his defensive side of the ball. That third down where Mateer that changed the game for me, in my opinion. 3rd and 20, and he runs the ball for 21 yards or whatever. That was one play that changed the game for me. And the other play that I feel like should have never happened, and I hate seeing this, that 3rd and long where Peyton Lewis caught that pass. No way he should have been tackled in the open field one-on-one. That 4th down play should have never have come up if he makes that man miss. And I said it in the stands, him getting tackled right there is not good for us, because I knew Oklahoma has a very great defense. Everybody's complaining about the play call and who the play was to, the freshman tight end. But that was a hell of a play. Players got to make plays on that 4th down conversion that we didn't get late in the ball game. But overall, man, the offensive line got bullied Saturday. And I'm seeing it from the stands, like, then the injuries, man, like, everything, like, we were just losing players every series. What is going on in the strength and conditioning program? We look good, but we're not tough. And it was just so frustrating, seeing how we were bullied, basically on both sides of the ball most of the time. We can't win that game with 3 turnovers, not against that defense. But, therefore, we got to keep our 3 receivers on the field. Kissman made some passes, they might have been off target, but some you got to catch. But we got to keep our 3 receivers on the field. And if Joey was a little bit more patient in the first quarter when he threw that ball to Matthews and Matthews got hurt, if he would have just been more Brazel beat that guy off the line of scrimmage on his side of the football field. And I don't know why we didn't go back to that later in the game, but off the ball, Brazel was beating this guy off the ball the whole game. Other than that, I'm going to hang up and listen.
Hey, thank you, Mississippi Vol, man. I agree with you. And we'll continue with the next phone call, and we'll get back to Mississippi Vol's comments. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, boys. How y'all doing, man?
Good, man. How are you? Who we speaking to?
Good. It's the Vol Patriot.
Oh, Vol Patriot. Good morning, sir. What's on your mind?
Good morning. Hey, man, just a couple things, I am going to harp on what Mississippi Vol just said. But before I get to that, I want to say this. I appreciate Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel came into this program and with Danny White, and they have revolutionized, what Tennessee is now compared to what it was during, as we say, the dark days,
Yeah, no doubt.
With that being said, I think Josh Heupel, I'll start at the beginning of this. At the beginning of the season, no one thought Tennessee, I'll say not a lot of people thought Tennessee would be in this position where we're frustrated, we're upset that we may not be going to a playoff. I mean, just realistically, that's just what it is. Unless, of course, miracles happen, we're not going to a playoffs.
We're not going to
and correct. So here we are in a situation where we're going, wow, that's the reality of the situation. If you would have said this at the beginning of the season, it wouldn't have been a big of a deal, but here we are. My point being is this. Josh Heupel knows what he has. Josh Heupel and this football program put out a product, this season that reflected, playoff opportunities. And it's not that we lost the games because we just weren't a good enough team. We lost the games because we lost the games. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Whether it be a play call, whether it be, players missing the mark for whatever reasons, we're not playing at the standard that, Tennessee should be playing at. Mm-hmm. That ultimately falls on Josh Heupel, and I don't think Josh Heupel should be fired because of that. I don't think Josh Heupel should be fired. What I am saying is, and you've known I've called in and said things. I'm not going to say it, but Josh Heupel does need to make some changes. I think Josh Heupel needs someone that can play complementary, coaching on the other end that's going to help his offense, because I think Josh Heupel himself, his identity and what he likes to do has been altered to help the other side of the field. And I think that's ultimately compromising the offense because, there's no way Joey Aguilar throws for almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, be it that there were 3 turnovers. But there was plenty of opportunities we had to get in that game, and I think some of his play calling was not a reflection of who he is as a coach. Defensively, I don't think we played our best game, but I mean, considering the fact that we gave up 34 points to Kentucky last week and all, everyone's going, our defense is going to suck. Well, they actually didn't really suck. They made some mistakes. They didn't play good on the back end. They gave up that 22-yard, play. But once again, my concern, we're playing 20 yards off the ball, and I mean, that's a problem when he scampers. He's an athlete. But I'm not going to get too deep into that. I think Tennessee needs to make some changes this offseason. On the defensive side of the ball, if Josh Heupel wants to stay at Tennessee and be successful, I think Tennessee is ready to be who Tennessee is, and we're a championship program, and that's the frustration. We're tired of anything less.
Hey, fair enough, All Patriot. Good stuff, man. Thank you. Appreciate the phone call, buddy.
Good, man.
Thank you, man. Good stuff from you. Josh Heupel just needs to make some adjustments. I think the way he does things, I mean, the mismanagement of the clock is something that's been a theme this year. And, he's calling plays. And it just seems like there's too much on his plate. And if you have all these things on your plate and you got a multi-million-dollar staff, something's not adding up. Like, if you're mismanaging the game when you have all these people on staff, something doesn't line up. And so I think his temperament is and was really good for this program coming in. But I think he needs a butt kicker, or he needs to be more of a butt kicker. One of the two. Because this team doesn't have the toughness that you see with Texas A&M. And let me say this. Why you compare this to Texas A&M? You can't compare this to Texas A&M. They're this and they're this. We played Texas A&M 2 years ago, Ben. And at the time, Texas A&M, would you agree, was a more talented football team? Agree or disagree? Or equal?
Agree.
Okay. Who was the toughest football team that day?
Tennessee.
What has changed in those 2 years? The coach.
Texas A&M got a new football coach.
The coach and
I don't know where you're going.
Tommy Moffitt. Tommy Moffitt was fired from LSU when Brian Kelly took over. Tommy Moffitt lasted under multiple coaches at LSU who have won national championships. But Brian Kelly's dumbass came in and fired Tommy Moffitt, okay? Tommy Moffitt goes to Texas A&M. And in 2 years, do you see the brand of football that Texas A&M plays? They punch you in your mouth. They bully you. They beat you down and make you like it. They're tough as nails. That's not by accident. That's head coach and Tommy Moffitt, one of the best strength coaches in the country. I'll give you another example, Ben McKee. I know how great Ohio State is. I know how much talent they have. But that strength coach is no joke, Ben McKee. They've had Jim Tressel. They've had Urban Meyer. Now they have Ryan Day. They play a brand of football. They have the number one defense in the country right now. You say they don't play anybody, whatever. It don't matter. But their strength coach is a grown man, and he makes grown men there at Ohio State. Mickey Mariotti, Marty. He has been there for multiple years. 13 years, Ben McKee. I got another example for you. Remember when we played Alabama when Scott Cochran was the strength coach? Coach, yeah. And he was crazy on the sideline. You know how tough those football teams were? Mentally tough, physically tough. And I'm glad that we've beaten Alabama the last 2 out of 4 years. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But can you say, Ben McKee, that the Alabama football teams in the last couple of years since Scott Cochran has left, have they been physically and as mentally tough as they were when Scott Cochran was there?
No.
My point is, strength coaches matter, bro. They matter. When Tennessee would push people's face in it, the times when Tennessee in the late 90s and in the 2000s, I got this trophy right here. John Stuckey Lifter of the Year Award. John Stuckey was the guy, the strength coach, before Johnny Long, that taught Johnny Long, and there's multiple dudes right now in the NFL all over the country that worked under John Stuckey. That's why Tennessee was tough mentally and physically. It started with John Stuckey. It started with Johnny Long. That's where Tennessee has to address some issues. We got 2 more phone calls, Ben, but I'm going to let you cook.
I don't have much else to add. I mean, all Josh Heupel needs to do is look on his own campus. Look at Garrett Medenwald with the basketball team. Look at Quentin Eberhardt with the baseball team, and how much Rick Barnes and Tony Vitello credit those 2 guys for their success. And Josh Heupel is trying to win at the level that Rick Barnes and Tony Vitello has won at. So all he has to do is look on his campus. But again, kind of like I said earlier, I do agree with your assessment of not being tough enough and potentially needing to look at the strength coach. You haven't
strength
come
staff.
out and
I said strength staff. I'm not implying anybody needs to be fired.
Okay, that's where I was going because
the strength staff is not good enough.
It can come off that way.
I know, but the strength staff is not good enough. Here's my.
If it's not good enough, then why shouldn't you make changes with your personnel?
Well, here's the thing. If your boss comes in, Ben, and he highlights your performance, okay, there's 2 things that the boss could do, or 2 scenarios here. Either you improve and you're better with your performance, or we get somebody else who's better with their performance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
I guess I'm being very simple and thinking that you kind of are who you are as a strength coach, and maybe you either got it or you don't have it.
Well,
there are obviously tweaks to the off-season workout routine that you can make, and you can do different things, but I don't know. I kind of feel like that's a position to where you either got it or you don't got it, because how much of Tommy Moffitt and those strength coaches, how much of that is their personality that they are inflicting on the roster? Because I'll tell you, with basketball and baseball, a lot of what makes Garrett and Q so good is their personality, and they are tough sons of guns. That if you screw up, they're going to get on you. So, I mean, how much of a personality can you really change between now and, I mean, you got 2 months before you're starting up the winter strength and conditioning program. How much can you change as a strength and conditioning staff, personality wise, to where the team is going to be tougher mentally, physically, and be more disciplined? I just don't. I kind of feel like that's something as a strength coach, and I know I'm probably being too simplistic, but I kind of feel like that's something that you either got or you don't got.
Maybe so. I'm just saying this has been an issue that I've seen for going into 3 years. 2023, I was like, and we ain't real mentally tough, and that comes from your strength coach. Like, that is built in the summer, in the fall, in the winter, like in spring, like all year round. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just something that, it was a 1-year deal. And then last year, I'm like, man, still an issue. And this year, like, hey, man, it's a problem, okay? It's a problem, and I'm not going to ignore it anymore. All right, got 2 more phone calls. Let's get to those phone calls. 865-255-03. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, guys?
Turkey Man, what's up, man?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. You sound great.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna make mine real quick. First of all, Ben, good to see you guys back together. Good to see you, man. I missed you, and I'm glad you're back. I just wanted you to know that.
Thank you, Turkey Man. I appreciate that.
I really, I guess there's 2 things that I think I can say that I guess would be, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. First of all, our out of bounds play at the end of the line of scrimmage and out of bounds, hitting people out of bounds or going out of bounds and hitting them, being allowed to step out of bounds when we need to take it upfield a little further. That out of bounds play tells a lot about the character you play of your team. On sidelines, what I'm trying to say. On the sideline, you see people reacting out of bounds, but we don't see them at the line making the play there. And the other thing is I have never seen at this stage of the year as many coaches fired, head coaches fired. I mean, it's all I can't count how many head coaches have been fired from a week or 2 ago up to now. And normally we should be just, sitting on pins and needles about was our coach going to be gone or not. And I don't see a lot of that.
No.
I mean, I don't see that. I'm really concerned. And I'm not seeing assistant coaches, a lot of the assistant coaches that what I'm hearing is gone that we need is gone and took positions is been not replaced with a quality as good or better.
Yeah, I understand, Turkey Man. That's fair. And that's fair. I mean, I think if you're Josh Heupel, you look over, your staff and you ask yourself, is this staff good enough to go win a championship? Because that's what you're doing it for. Only one team can win a championship. Don't get me wrong, but has Tennessee looked like a championship team this year? The answer is no. Has Tennessee looked like a championship team last year? At the beginning of the season, when you wasn't playing anybody, but when SEC play started, the answer is no. The last time Tennessee looked like a championship team was 2022. And so, at what point do you stop patting yourself on the back for 2022 and saying, all right, well, we're in a better spot than we was before, and start saying, hey, we can do more, we can be better, and we need to be better. So Josh Heupel's going to have to evaluate himself and the staff and the program, and hopefully he makes those necessary changes to move forward, because fans feel like this program is in neutral, and I think that's a pretty fair assessment when you look at what Tennessee was able to do in 2022. All right, I'm going back to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, sir. Dustin?
Hey, man, it's Dustin.
Oh, man, I'm getting good with the voices.
Yeah, man, you're getting good. Hey, you may even know what I'm about to talk about. But we'll get into it.
We ain't talking about getting no receivers, man. We don't need no receivers.
Hey, just hold on.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later, maybe.
Cam Coleman's available.
Hey, Ben, don't steal my thunder, son. Don't steal my thunder. Hey, listen, I got a couple points that I wrote down from the other night's game, man, and I just wanted to run these by you. The flag on Jaden Perlotti, late hit out of bounds. The kid was not out of bounds.
Nope.
Matter of fact, he was still digging to try to get extra yards. I called 2 weeks ago when Jarrett Garantano was on the show with you, if you remember, and I said, why did they get a hit Aguilar out of bounds? And he said, well, he was turning upfield, and he could have turned upfield and got extra yard. Well, that kid was trying to get extra yards, and we got flagged for it. That was
That was my one harp on the officiating if I had that. Second thing is I hate to do this, and I'm not going to. That's why I'm going to ask you because you played at that level. I'll never rip somebody that I don't believe I could do the job. But I need to ask you as a former player on a team, at what point in time do you look at the coach and say, hey, man, if we're on the opposite side and we're going in the 40, let's keep the kicker on the sideline and let's take a chance with our offense? Because I want to say this. The season that we're having, a lot of people didn't think we would have, at the first year it was 8-4, 9-3, some 7-5. Nico had left. But, I mean, if we're honest with each other, we're a field goal kick away from beating Georgia, which would have been huge for Josh Heupel. We're a field goal kick the other night away from possibly being able to pull away from that game before it even got started. Now, I'm not saying we would have. I don't know. You don't know how the game's going to play out. But I think that's something that we have to that our coaches have to look at. And Jason, I want to ask you because, like I said, I've never played that position. I've never played at that high level, and I'm never going to rip a kid that is. But at some point inside that locker room, you think them boys are looking at each other thinking, "Coach, just let us get the yard. Let us try to continue on because we don't trust him." Maybe. Do you feel like that could be anything?
I would probably feel that way if I was a player. I don't know if those conversations are going on inside the locker room. I do know Max Gilbert's percentage, and his percentages are good. He just misses them at the wrong time. It's like my good friend Arian Foster. Like, he was labeled as a fumbler. It wasn't that he fumbled a lot. It was that he fumbled at the worst times. And so that's the narrative for Max Gilbert is when, no one, and I've said this on this program so many times, like, no one cares about your performance at any position when you're playing against Akron and when you're playing against UT Chattanooga. It's what you do in big games. And in big games this year, right, Max Gilbert has missed a field goal against Georgia that we would have won the game, and then he missed a field goal against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's kicker made all his field goals in their biggest game of the year. So that's the difference. It's what you do in the big games. That
dude was crushing it. I mean, 55-yarders, you tell me you're going to put him at 55 yards 3 times, then I'd have lost my house.
Yeah, for real.
If I was a betting man. Couple more things real quick. I'll get off here, I promise. For anybody, and I'm not going to tell anybody how to fan, but, man, if you're calling for Coach Heupel's job, you're not watching. Maybe I'm not seeing the same game you're seeing. The other night, Joey Aguilar threw that interception. He threw it to a post deep. If he'd have waited a half a second more, and he had a half a second, it's one of the few times in the pocket he had a half a second. Braylon Staley was coming wide open again, right across the middle. I mean, just even when they played it back on the stream or on the game there, you seen him stepping away from his man coming across the middle. He's drawing up plays left and right to get them boys open. The pass to Van Dorselaer, I know everybody's harping on that, but, man, you got to realize, you all was just talking about it just a minute ago. That offensive line was getting zero push. Yes, he got bumped at the end of the line. Mm-hmm. Yes, he didn't get his head turned around, but it was there. You know what I mean? If it was one of the things where the play wasn't there, I'd understand. But, man, when I'm watching these games, I'm like, dang, dude, like, really? That's not bad. I mean, did you see that? Did you see that on that interception, Jason, or were my eyes tricking me?
It was a bad read, and Aguilar said that one of them he got greedy, and the other one he got fooled. At the same time, you can't throw post routes versus single safety. I mean, unless there's a bust. Period. My issue, and I put responsibility on the players to make plays. Always will, always have, okay? But from a play calling standpoint, you got to put your guys in position to be successful. And I thought we were too greedy and too impatient with play calling. First drive of the game, we were patient. We threw screen passes. You threw a screen pass to Mike Matthews. It wasn't enough of answers for the Oklahoma front. We didn't have enough answers. We got greedy and tried to hit touchdown strikes from 50 yards, from 40 yards, from 60 yards out, instead of taking what the defense is giving us and being more patient. I thought play calling could have helped Joey Aguilar a ton. He shouldn't be throwing the football 45 times in a game like that, okay? And so, yes, the play design on fourth down, all right, Van Dorselaer was open. My thing is, why is he in the game?
That's my criticism is why are you throwing it to a freshman tight end in that moment? A gotta have it moment with your season on the line. I believe he had 2 catches on the season, has 2 catches on the season or something along those lines. And Ethan Davis was cooking. Miles Kitzelman's he struggled a bit more than I anticipated this season, but he's supposed to be your veteran leader on the team. I trust Kitzelman in that situation more than Van Dorselaer. So it was a tough moment. He got bumped off his route because Nathan Robinson, I believe, got pushed back a little bit. So there were some things that unfortunately played out for Tennessee on that play that kind of threw it out of sorts. And like, I feel you, it's open. Van Dorselaer needs to make the catch. The play call, it got somebody open, but I also think it's fair when assessing whether it was a good play call or not to assess whether that personnel should be in on that play in that moment. And I don't know how you go to a freshman with just a few catches on the season in your most critical moment of the season with the playoffs on the line.
Right. Well, I understand, but listen, on my way out, Ben, did you hear about the news this morning on the news about that freeze warning?
Yes,
there's a freeze warning coming, and listen, hey, I heard that if you'll go get you a Coleman stove, it'll help warm you up, boys. You know what I'm talking about. Have a great day.
Thank you for the phone call, man. Maybe I'm corny because I have no clue what he's talking about.
I think he's referencing Hugh Freeze.
Oh. For what?
Offensive coordinator? I don't know. Maybe you and I are both not picking up what Dustin is putting down. So, Dustin, if we're wrong, please comment on the text box what you were alluding to there.
You think Josh Heupel is about to give up play calling?
Well, maybe he should. Do I think he's going to? No. But should he consider it? I don't know. I think Josh Heupel is a great play caller, but I agree with what you said earlier that it feels like he's got too much on his plate. And
it does.
The clock management, the game management is a big issue right now. And if it's going to continue to be a big issue, then although he's a great play caller, maybe he needs to consider giving it up.
This is his offense. This is his terminology. You're not bringing someone else in to change the offense and run their offense. Like that's not happening.
I agree that it's not going to happen. I'm saying that he should consider it. Although I know he's not going to, and he was referencing Dustin was Cam Coleman getting a Coleman stove.
Oh.
No,
Dustin.
Shame on us for being slow and not picking that one up.
No.
But like I feel you. Like I don't think Heupel would ever do it. But I think that he should consider it if these issues are going to continue to exist.
Yeah, he has to manage games better. And
at the end of the day, he's supposed to be a CEO first and foremost.
There's a difference between being a head coach and being an offense coordinator. And
and what's the point of having an offensive coordinator if you're not even going to trust him to call plays to begin with?
Okay, I'm going back to the phones because that's old. I don't know if an hour and a half is going to be enough today, but we'll try. Who's next? Okay. Good morning. Hello. Going once. All right.
Hey.
Good morning.
Swain, you there?
Yes, sir. What's up, Jay?
Hey, man, it's Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Guys, I want to talk about something. That was a frustrating loss, okay? And I get the frustration. I do. We should have won that game. Oklahoma's not better than us.
Correct.
And when you consider what is on the line and everything like that too, it's definitely frustrating. And you know, it seems like outside of a couple Georgia losses and Ohio State losses, when we do lose, I leave feeling like we should have won the game. We should have won the Georgia game. But there seems to be a bigger issue in college football with fans and expectations, maybe. But, you know, Kirk Herbstreit was talking about last year, Ryan Day, who was 11-1 and was 4 games away from winning a national title, which he did, had to have armed security at his house because he lost to Michigan because of their fans.
That's ridiculous.
Vol Twitter is the most toxic. I don't care if they do a fundraiser every now and then for somebody. They are the most toxic group of people I have ever seen in my life. The idea that we're out here calling for Coach Heupel's job or saying that Coach Heupel is coaching for his job next year, that he's going in on the hot seat, is ludicrous to me.
Yeah, that's
is ludicrous.
That's crazy.
And at some point, then it's, well, what is good enough for you people? Because in year 4 or 5, you're calling, as you should have, called for Butch's and Dooley's and Pruitt's job. But now a guy that pulled you from the ashes, that took you to the playoffs, that is winning 10 games a year, basically, now you're ready. Now he's in the same spot as Jeremy Pruitt and Butch Jones in y'all's eyes. I mean, how does this work? If you win, it's not good enough. If you lose, it's not good enough.
Jay,
I don't understand. I don't understand this, Swain. And what happens is you got people like Adam Sparks now writing articles about this. You got Brooke Austin releasing videos talking about Tennessee fans need to calm down, which they should. You got Kirk Herbstreit on his podcast with Joey Galloway. It makes us look like idiots.
Correct.
It makes the whole fan base look like idiots.
Correct. And Jay, that's why today's show, there hasn't been a conversation about firing Josh Heupel, because it's a waste of energy. And I'm not going to put content out. Listen, those guys, they're doing that because that's easy. That's easy to do. You're gonna get clicks. It's, emotional. I'm not feeding that base. I'm not feeding that idea that Josh Heupel's job needs to be in question, because that's silly. I think the energy that we should be putting out is the changes Josh Heupel needs to make. Like, he needs to be better. And I think we all can agree that he needs to be better, and he's done a good job, but there's time for evolution. He has to evolve. He has done it before. He did it last year. Going into this year with the offense, it's better, but he's going to have to evolve more as a CEO and as a head coach. I'm not feeding that segment of the fan base, Jay. I'm not putting your energy into it. Adam Sparks is doing what he needs to do to get people to read his stuff, and Adam is great. I love Adam. He does a great job. Kirk Herbstreit is putting out content that people are going to listen to and watch. Cool, that's great. But most Tennessee fans feel like Big Orange Mac. And Big Orange Mac, I hope you okay with me reading off your tweet, because I think it encapsulates a lot how Tennessee fans felt on Saturday, who were mad, who were emotional, and Big Orange Mac tweeted this day, and I give the floor back to you.
Sure, go ahead.
Yesterday morning, he says, "Am I frustrated with Hype's in-game decisions and clock management? Yes. Do I want him fired? Absolutely not. Yes, I rage tweet after losses, but I ain't dumb." That's most fans. You pissed off about the result, you're mad, but you know dang well Josh Heupel has done a good job here. You just want him to be better. That's all. You just want him to be better.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting him to be better, because he needs to be better if he wants to take the next step with this football program. That should be the conversation that most of us are having, not wasting our time talking about firing a coach that has won the amount of games that he's won here. Like, it's a waste of energy and a waste of breath for me.
Well, Swain, I agree with Big Orange back there. And that's what I'm saying. There's no coach. I don't know of a coach. I mean, Nick Saban's gone. Maybe Kirby Smart. I don't know of a coach that can't be criticized or can't say they can't do better in certain spots. And I agree. Like, there are times. I told my buddy, there are times where I don't understand Heupel's use or not use of timeouts in critical moments. So there are things that have happened that I don't. Me and him see it differently. I guess me just watching the game. The offense has evolved. He is running more, NFL concepts, more stacked, tight formations, things like that. Can it be better? Sure. Yeah, absolutely it can be better. But we are the number one offense in the country. We do have the number one passer. Now, hold on, Swain. We do have the number one passer in the SEC. We're the only school in the country that has 3 receivers over 600 yards. Like, it's not terrible. Could it be better? Yeah, but it's not like this idea that he can't function without Alex Golesh, to me, is ludicrous. Like, the stats don't say that. And if you go and watch Brooks Austin, the film guy, the YouTube guy that breaks down all this film, he broke down that Ohio State game where we got killed. Nico couldn't see Heupel had guys running wide open, and Nico couldn't even make to his second progression. Like, at some point, these players who are millionaires, they're not kids anymore, they're millionaires. They need to step up and make some plays too. They need to step up and be able to do what they need to do. You know, if Max Gilbert is your kicker next year, then you've done something terribly wrong. I mean, some of these kids need to be – they're not kids anymore. They're making more than most families are making.
So when are they being held accountable, Jay?
Say what?
I said, when are they supposed to be held accountable?
Well, they need to be held accountable, Swain, because we're talking about what –
When?
I don't. What do you mean when? Like now, every game.
In the game, right? Okay. So they're doing in the game what they do in practice. Okay. The difference between now and when Alex Golesh was the OC, Alex Golesh instilled more discipline with this offensive group. Is the play designs better? Yes. Josh Heupel ain't forget how to call plays and scheme. The difference is the mistakes offensively were not allowed that much when Alex Golesh was the OC, because Alex Golesh, personality-wise, he would tell dudes, he would get in folks' face, he would challenge guys, he would hold guys accountable in practice.
Okay.
The changes is you have a personality of Josh Heupel who is laid back, super nice dude, awesome. Halsley, super nice, laid back. Somebody has to be the ass kicker in practice, okay? To hold dudes accountable, so that way when we get in the games, we're not making mistakes, we're not saying my bad, and Josh Heupel's not saying the same thing at every press conference talking about, we made mistakes and we can't beat ourselves. Okay, in practice, you have to practice harder, you have to hold dudes accountable more, you got to hit in practice, you got to be physical in practice, because if you're physical and you do those things in practice, it's going to show up more in games. So I get what you're saying, Jay. Like, players got to make plays. Players got to make plays. I get it. But players, as a former player myself, when you are held to a standard in practice, and I remember the difference between Randy Sanders and Coach Cutcliffe. Randy was laid back. Randy was smart. But the small details sometimes got forgotten. And we didn't hammer it home enough. And then when we went out during the game, those small details would get us beat. When Coach Cutcliffe came in, Coach Cutcliffe was the butt kicker. He loved you hard, but he expected the best of you. And if you didn't get it right in practice, there were consequences. Like, there was no wavering. It was this way or no way, or you ain't playing. And that's why the offense improved from 05 to 06, and Ainge had his best time under Coach Cutcliffe, and the offensive line led the country in sacks allowed because the standard was raised in practice. That's the difference. It ain't X's and O's. It's in practice. Hey, man, you drop a ball, there's consequences. You put the ball on the ground, there's consequences. You miss a block, there's consequences. The problem is, I don't know how strong the consequences are in practice, because in the games, we're making the same mistakes over and over, and we're beating ourselves since 2022. It's been the same thing, 23, 24, and 25. That's the difference, in my opinion, Jay.
Well, Swain, that is perfectly fair, and I've never heard anyone explain it that way, because I think if you go on Twitter and things like that or hear fans talk, when they say it, they're talking about X's and O's. When they talk about goalish, they talk about it in that sense. And I'm like, what are you talking? You don't think Josh Heupel knows what he's doing, calling plays and stuff? But what you're saying, that's fair, Swain. That is fair, and you would know that better than anyone. I mean, you know, you're at practicing things, so I agree with you there.
I've been at one practice this year, Jay.
Well, you ain't been going this year, huh?
Well, I don't need to go. I mean, I don't need to go to know
right.
that. I mean, I can see how we play.
No,
I've been practicing.
Well, that's fair.
Years. I mean, that's just how we practice.
Yeah, that's a fair point then, and that does need to get. Yeah, so he's not without criticism at all, but I just don't think because I mean he could turn around and make the playoff next year, and then that would be two playoff runs in 3 years.
Yeah.
And I get it. So I get it. We got to be better. It's not without criticism. It's going to get to a point eventually. I don't want to just go to the playoff. I want to win some of the playoff games. And you should want that as a Tennessee fan. I get that. I just didn't think that we were at that point right now, Swain. I thought that was a way overreaction, and I appreciate you letting me rant on it. And Ben, if I don't get to talk to you, if I don't get to talk to you, buddy, I hope you hang in there. All right, with everything you're dealing with.
Jay. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay, man. Like, I am not on board with any of the fire Josh Heupel stuff.
Well, nobody's really even talking about this. This has been a conversation that has been totally blown out of proportion by anybody and everybody. And I think the Jonathan Crompton thing last night is a perfect example of that. Jonathan Crompton, from the tweet that was going around social media, I did not listen to Jonathan Crompton on this podcast, but based off of the tweet that irritated some former Vols and others on social media, Jonathan Crompton did not say Josh Heupel should be fired. He said, literally, I'm not the one to call for a coach to get fired. That's not my thing. That is him saying, I do not believe Heupel should be fired. And he went on to share the opinion that Josh Heupel is Tennessee's James Franklin. How is that any different than you and I last week saying that Josh Heupel is Mark Richt? I mean, but my point that I'm making is, like, Jonathan Crompton got jumped for sharing a fair opinion, kind of got jumped in a whack way, in my opinion, by some. But that's a separate conversation for off the air with those people. But, like, Crompton never said Josh Heupel should be fired. He said that he thinks that he's James Franklin and that he's not going to be able to ever win anything of significance, that they're going to win 9, 10, 11 games. They're not going to win playoff games, and that's kind of the ceiling. That's a fair opinion, but he gets jumped and is accused of wanting Josh Heupel fired, and he never – to me, I did not take it that way whatsoever, and I think that's a perfect example of Tennessee fans are getting bashed right now for saying they think that Josh Heupel needs to be fired. Nobody's saying that. I mean, maybe you have your one – absurd message board from some drunk fan on a Saturday night after the game that gets put on message board genius. That doesn't mean that Tennessee's fan base thinks that Josh Heupel should be fired. Josh Heupel's or Tennessee fans would like to see Josh Heupel make changes. They are concerned that he has maxed out his potential, which is what Jonathan Crompton said. And then you have people taking that and running with it and saying that these people are saying that Josh Heupel should be fired. And that's not the case at all. So I think it's a conversation that's been totally blown out of proportion. I have not seen one serious take that should be taken seriously that Josh Heupel should be fired. Not a single one. And I am on social media and the message boards way more than I should be.
Man, we don't listen to understand. We listen to respond. We don't read to understand. We read to respond. And the only thing I would say to Crompton, the only advice I would give him is when you say, I'm not one that calls for people's jobs, that's not my thing, you can't just say that. You got to say, I'm not calling for Josh Heupel's job. Saying that you're one that does it, that didn't necessarily say that you wasn't calling for Josh Heupel's job. That can get twisted.
Yeah, it can.
He needs to say, I'm not calling for Jonathan Crompton's job. Now, I got a message.
Josh Heupel's job.
What did I say? Crompton's job?
Crompton.
Heupel's job. I got a message from someone who sent me the tweet that had Jonathan Crompton's quote in it. And I was like, okay. I was like,
that was my reaction. I mean, how could you disagree with the James Franklin aspect of that?
Well, the reason why I was like, okay, is because James Franklin won multiple playoff games last year. I said that is a compliment. If Josh Heupel can get to James Franklin's point, that is a step forward. Heupel's not even to James Franklin's level yet. We haven't won a playoff game yet. So James Franklin has won multiple playoff games. I said, this ain't a big deal to me. Now, if Josh Heupel gets to the point where he's won everything except for the national championship, which we're not there yet, then that's another conversation. But I didn't think that comparison was even fair. I didn't think it was even accurate, to be honest. Like, I love me some Jonathan Crawford. That's my guy. But I didn't think it was accurate because James Franklin is ahead of Josh Heupel. He has multiple playoff wins. He went to the Final Four.
Yeah. Of course, when people think of James Franklin, they don't think of that. They forget that he won some playoff games last year. They just the rep on James Franklin is that he can't win the big game. Even though he just won some last year, to your point. But that people don't think about that. People forget that he won playoff games last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's so I thought
because there's a stat on his end season during the regular season record against like top 25 teams, and that's what's always pointed out when people talk about James Franklin.
Yeah, like I thought it was a silly comparison.
Yeah, when you consider the playoff success last year, it's not the most accurate one for sure.
No.
I understand what he's trying to say in terms of James Franklin is viewed as somebody who can't get over the hump, and that's kind of what Josh Heupel is becoming, somebody that can't get over the hump. Well, there's a decent bit of stability, but there's not that extra punch to get over the hump. Like I get that, but when you consider Franklin did win some playoff games, it's not the most accurate comparison.
I think the best way to word it would be there's concern that 2022 was the ceiling.
Yes.
I mean,
there's nothing wrong with having that opinion, and it doesn't mean that you want Josh Heupel fired.
Yeah, like there's a concern that Hendon was just special, Golish was a big reason behind it, and we won't get back to that point. And like, it ain't about the record entirely. The way we have looked in 2023, 24, and 25 doesn't look like that. We don't look disciplined. We don't look tough. We don't look smart. The decision making in game is not as good as it was in 22. The management is not as good in 22. Like, that's what I am looking at. That's why.
And your personnel should be better, and it doesn't feel like it. Despite
should be better. You shouldn't be in a position where you have to play walk-ons and 40-something% of your roster is true freshmen. Like, that's a year 2 deal. We've been through coaching searches. We've been through rebuilds with multiple coaches. We know when you have to play a bunch of true freshmen, usually it's early in a coach's tenure, not in year 5. So that's what has to improve. That's what has to get better. And that should be the conversation. Not wasting our breath on fire Josh Heupel. Like, that's so silly. All right, I'm going back to the phones. Is that okay, Ben? You got something else you want to say?
Yes.
I need to get to the text box. Is 2022 ceiling bad? We were competing for a natty that year until Hook got hurt. Would we have won it all? I don't know, but we were in the running. No, it's not. It's not bad. And if Tennessee was,
and you didn't have the 12-team playoff that year.
If Tennessee was playing in the 12-team playoff, you're getting in, and you're possibly winning games.
Is Joe Milton winning a playoff game after Hendon tears his ACL? I feel you, but like,
I mean, the way you beat Clemson, possible.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So there's nothing. Is 2022 ceiling bad? No, it's not bad, but that's the fear that we'll never get back to that point or even close because we haven't looked like that since. And in year 2, we all thought in year 2, Josh Heupel, him doing that, oh, well, if year 2 we did that, that means year 3 and year 4 and year 5 will be as good, if not better. don't let me sit here and think that I'm the only one who thought that. Everyone probably thought that. If you're doing this in year 2, now you're getting more of your own players. NIL is more stable. We should be doing that at the minimum. There's nothing wrong. What LSU's interim AD said in their press conference last week, and there's nothing wrong with feeling this way. When you look at the budget at Tennessee, which is second to only Texas in the SEC.
And that's that's straight out of Danny White's mouth last week at Josh E. Leonard's press conference.
So,
said that they were nipping on the heels of Texas for number 1 too.
You have an AD that's kicking butt. You have an administration that's kicking butt and bringing in money. And I know folks can make whatever comments about how they're going about it, but you got to have money to compete at a high level. And so you have these resources. It is okay. And I'm going to reference what the interim AD at LSU said. He said at LSU, there is an expectation to make the college football playoff every year. Quote, LSU has to be in the playoffs every year. That is what the interim AD at LSU said. Expectation is championships where no, man. You stand on business. Our expectation is to get to the playoffs. If we don't, it's a failure. And we got to do what we have to do to get back in that position. That's part of having high standards. You can't conveniently put them down and pick them up. You either have them or you don't. Great programs have high standards, and they don't waver. They don't waver, man. So let me shut up because this is your.
I will say, going off of what you're saying and something that Jay, I believe it was Jay, referenced, is that there is a disconnect and a problem. I do think it's a problem. Fan expectations and the fallout if a team does not meet those expectations.
Yeah, I think
just because Josh Heupel doesn't make the playoffs this season, that doesn't mean that he should get the Hugh Freeze treatment or the Billy Napier treatment. There is a big disconnect, and I do think it's an issue in really sports in general. The championship or bust mentality, that if there's very rarely in sports nowadays are people allowed, are coaches, general managers, athletic directors able to fix their problems. Now, if something goes wrong, the expectation is that they get fired and you bring somebody new in. And I think more often than not, that just makes the situation worse, especially when you know, like at a place like Tennessee, the writing was on the wall for Auburn or Florida. Like it was clear Billy Napier, Hugh Freeze were in over their head. Josh Heupel's not in over his head. He deserves a chance to fix it. It's reasonable that he will fix it. He fixed the offense this past offseason. Are there still things that need to be adjusted? Yes, but just generally speaking, he fixed the offense this past offseason from what's that?
Yeah, they're better. He made adjustments.
Yes, and again, still more adjustments are needed to be made. I don't feel like they're as drastic as last offseason. I felt like last offseason you needed an overhaul offensively. And now it feels like you need an overhaul defensively. But I do think, just going off of what you're saying, is like, yes, that should be the expectation, is that you make the playoffs every year. That should be the expectation at Tennessee. But there's got to be a reasonable thought process as well if you don't make the playoffs, that you don't automatically jump to everybody needs to be fired. And I feel like that's a real issue in sports, but especially college athletics right now.
Well, the reason why it's an issue, the coaches are part of the problem. The reason why they're part of the problem is because they haven't said no when they were offered $7, $8, $9 million to coach per year, understanding that this contract comes with strings attached. When fans look at, and I'm not taking up for the fans because I think you're right, but I'm laying down what the reality is. The reality is people know what these coaches and players are making. Their patience is not as long as it was before. There's less understanding. There's less grace given. If you're making $10 million a year and these players are making six figures, they expect a certain product. They expect you to look a certain type of way. And I do think that's fair, but I do think fans get a little emotional and they want to fire everybody when there's a little slippage, one time. Brian Kelly, did he deserve to be fired at
Yes.
LSU? Yes. Yeah.
The example of what I'm talking about is James Franklin. Like, why does James Franklin not deserve a chance to fix it this offseason after he just led, as you pointed out, led Penn State to the Final Four, won playoff games, have been successful throughout his entire tenure after he took over an atrocious situation? Like, that is the example of a coach deserves to fix it. Do Penn State fans deserve to be angry for how the start of the season played out after they were, preseason number 2? Yes, absolutely. And there were some awful losses in there. But that to me is, like, why doesn't James Franklin deserve a chance to fix it? It was 1 month of bad football, and he's gone.
Because he's a butthead, Ben. He's a butthead.
That much of a butthead? He's not Brian Kelly, is he?
He was a butthead at Vanderbilt. People got tired of him. He was a butthead at Penn State. And if you're not a butthead and you struggle, you're going to be given more grace. James Franklin clashed with the wrong people. That's why he's out.
I just didn't think he was that much of a butthead, but maybe I'm just wrong on that, it seems like I am.
Penn State has the opportunity to prove whether they made the right decision.
But, like, who wants the Penn State job?
I mean, somebody who wants to get paid over $10 million. All right, going back to the phones.
Fair enough.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, hi. Hey, this is Chris from Mobile. How y'all doing,
What's up,
man?
Chris? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I just want to ask you guys, where are we ranked in the punt return game? We're not getting anything out of the punt return game. I'm just sick and tired of seeing somebody throwing their hands up in the air and not making any kind of effort. I was watching the game on Saturday, and there was multiple occasions where I saw clean grass 10, 15 yards up the field.
Sir?
I was saying,
sir,
10 to 15. Why are we being coached just to fair catch the ball and just get off the field?
I am with you 100%. So, everybody knows Boo Carter has been in the doghouse, all right? He was taken off when he muffed the punt against UAB, and UAB recovered it. He came back in the Mississippi State game, and now he's been the starting punt returner since. His freshman year, he showed electricity. He showed, a little bit of, he took some chances on some returns, but there was injury there, okay? Either he was told to fair catch it, which was bad, or because he didn't play on defense, he was pouting or he was upset, and he just didn't want to play. Because a punt returner's dream, and I'm speaking from experience because I was punt returner, is a low spiral kick. He had 15-plus yards of green grass, but decided to fair catch it. And as a punt returner, you're looking at the ball and taking a peek at the ball, or coverage, ball coverage. He knew nobody was around. So either he was told to fair catch it, or Boo didn't want to play football that day. And the problem I have is Boo Carter has been a problem all year long. And Josh Heupel could have managed the situation better. Either kick him off or bring him back and make him a part of the team and get the best out of him, or don't make him on the team. He has impacted this football team in a way. 2 weeks ago against Kentucky, his effort was poor in touchdown. And then this week, the punt return. Like, part of management is kicking dudes off that deserve to be kicked off. Kim Caldwell in year number 2 has shown more discipline, saying, Ruby, we gave you a second chance. You're out to 4:30 in the morning. I don't know what you're doing. You got arrested. Bye. But when you allow someone to continue to mess up and come back and mess up and get a third chance, fourth chance, fifth chance, people look at you, people in your locker room look at you sideways. It's the reason why Ricky Gibson's about to hit the transfer portal, because Boo Carter got more money after he threatened to transfer. And folks are like, wait a minute, you giving this dude more money? Hey, I'm doing everything right, but you're giving this guy more money. That creates issues. And I said this early in the show. I hate that I have to say this now, because no one was a bigger Boo Carter fan coming out of high school, Ben. The conversations you and I had about, man, him playing, I would love him to play receiver. I think he's the best prospect in this class. Big, huge Boo Carter, the football player fan. I'm to the point, I don't like watching Boo Carter play football because he doesn't want to play. His effort is poor. His body language is poor. The teammates' body language is poor. Like, it's a bad situation. And
they don't interact with one another.
Like, Saturday for me, like, was it. Like, it's hard to watch Boo Carter play football.
I've been there since the ETSU game.
But Josh Heupel's a coach, man. Like,
yeah,
that situation should have been managed better. And I'm not saying fire Josh Heupel, because I know I got to say that every other segment so people can understand and not take it to another place that I have no intention on going. I just want him to be better and handle the situation better. And Boo Carter was a situation that he could have handled better. And look where we are now in November, where the guy had 15 yards, one of the best athletes in the SEC, preseason first teamer, and he don't even want to catch the punt and make anything happen. That's where we are in the Boo Carter saga. And it's sad. It's sad. I would put somebody else back there.
It really is. Like I say, we're already down 2 all-SEC cornerback. You might as well just throw him in the mix, and that's another part of the problem with our secondary.
Well, he didn't play defense this past week because he loafed against Kentucky on a touchdown, and he's having too many missed assignments.
Yeah.
Tim Banks won't play him. And I don't blame Tim Banks. I mean, I totally get it.
Should have happened weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah. I appreciate the call, fellas.
Hey,
y'all do a great job. Love you guys.
Thank you. And I'm sorry folks get upset. I'm sorry, but
I don't think anybody's upset. I think everybody agrees.
no, I mean, there's going to be somebody upset.
Well, there's always somebody
And I'm
upset,
sorry.
but
Valstein says Gibson going to hit the portal. No, there was a time in the offseason that Ricky Gibson was threatening getting into the portal. There was reports of that Gibson was potentially looking at the portal. And that happened.
the way you said it sounded like Ricky was about to hit the portal.
During the offseason, Ricky Gibson was about to hit the portal. That happened after Boo Carter threatened to get into the portal and then got out of the portal because he got a new deal. And so if I'm in that room and I'm seeing how this player is walking and handling his business, and he gets an upgrade, he gets paid more, I'm like, what? Huh? That's not fair. I need to be getting taken care of. And Ricky was 100% in feeling that way. So Nick Saban said it, man. You got to pay the right players the right amount. And Boo Carter's been an issue all year long. It just has been. Boo Carter's mama said he was hurt with the hip flex. I don't care. If he's hurt,
I think they're telling him to fair catch it.
Put somebody else in. Why would you tell him to fair catch it when he has 15 yards of free grass? That's a first down and a half.
Maybe because you don't trust him to actually catch the football.
Put somebody else in if you don't care.
Well, they did that, and they dropped the ball too.
Well, if you only have two dudes, if you don't have one guy on the team that you trust to fair catch punts, that's an issue.
Well, they have a lot of issues. Now, the counterpoint to the potential thought that they're telling him to fair catch the football is Tennessee actually is 5th in the SEC in punt returns. They've returned 16 this year, and they are 7th in punt return yards average at 10.25 yards per game. Now, collegefootballstats.com do not break it up into SEC stats and non-conference stats. I would be curious to know. Actually, they do break it up, and Tennessee is second to last in SEC play in punt return yards. Guess how many yards Tennessee is averaging per punt return in SEC play?
You can tell me, but I don't even need no number that knows it ain't right.
1.5 yards.
Yeah.
It's the only team that is averaging fewer yards on punt returns in SEC play is Alabama. They're averaging negative 2.6 yards per punt return.
Yeah.
Tennessee has only returned six punts in SEC play.
I don't care if he's hurt. We are at this position in November. It's been a hot mess all season long. Everyone knew that this game was going to be physical and that special teams could be the determining factor. And they won special teams because they kicked multiple 50-yard field goals. And we had an opportunity to make an impact in special teams with hidden yards the same way we did against Texas A&M when A&M came in with more talent, but we beat them because D. Williams. Boo Carter has that type of ability, but we haven't been able to see that ability because of this situation. Both times.
He never should have been on the team.
Both times, the punter had low spirals. That was at least 25 to 30 yards those two times that he punted that ball. Not each time, but a total of 25 to 30 yards in punt return yardage if someone catches that and runs. That is a ruined opportunity because of this.
And the offense needed it.
Offense needed it. It's a wasted opportunity because of this mess with Boo Carter. It gets back to the management part where I just need us to be better. That's my point. Going back to the phones. Good morning.
Morning, Swain.
What's up?
Morning, Ben. This is Caleb, man.
What's up, Caleb?
What's up, Caleb?
Hey, man. Guys, this last week, man, that was probably the most frustrating loss that we've had in a while. And I'm not calling for Josh Heupel's job. I want to explicitly say that. Like you said earlier, that would be just stupid to even have to have that conversation. But what I will say is, Jay had a comment where he said, well, what more do you want? That's an easy answer. I want to win an SEC championship. I want to win a national championship. I want to beat Georgia every year, or at least most of the time. I don't want to have to worry about when's the next time we're going to win in the swamp against Florida, or can we beat Bama on the road, or when we go on a road game and we're playing a top 10 team, can we beat them? And maybe I'm delusional. Maybe my standard is just too high. Maybe I grew up at the perfect time as a Tennessee fan. I'm 35 years old, so when I was a kid, all I remember doing is winning. We owned Georgia. We owned Bama there for a short amount of time. We've gone back and forth with Florida all the time in the 90s, but it's just like, man, that's the frustration. And again, I'm not calling for Heupel's job. I'm just saying that you made a comment last week, and it has stuck with me, where we lived through this before, back in 2011, 2012, where Tennessee could have took that step forward, and we didn't.
Yeah, 13.
And I don't want to get passed up again, man. I just don't want to get passed up again.
Yeah, between 13 and 16 is when we had the opportunity.
Yeah, 13 and 16. Yeah, I don't want to get passed up. And guys, you can see the writing on the wall. That's what Saturday was, and we got passed up there. Now, I'm not saying it's all over, but I'll be honest with you. In a way, maybe it's good we didn't make the playoff because we would have just got knocked out in the first round. I mean, that's how bad that kind of is, and I hate that feeling. And I'm not trying to overreact. I love Tennessee, man. I absolutely love this university. I've said that a million times. And again, I'm not calling for Heupel's job, but man, the frustration level of putting on for this team all the time, like loving this university, being baptized in it, born and raised in it, NFL is great, man, but it ain't college football. It's not Tennessee football. We look at it differently, man, and it's just frustrating. And to your point, and I hate to jump on that bandwagon, but dude, I want to see Boo Carter again. Honestly, I'm done. I'm beyond done. The kid had all the talent in the world. I don't care. It's clear he don't want to really be here. Like, it's blatantly obvious. When you got people who grow up like me, who I didn't have those physical abilities where I could play football. I just didn't. I wasn't that great. I was a third-string quarterback in high school. That's how good I was, right? So who am I to even say? But I'm just saying, man, what I would have given to put on that orange, to run through that tee. And when I see that kind of effort against Kentucky, and I see 15 yards of open field for you to run a punt return back, now again, maybe he was told to fair catch it, but if that's our game plan, no wonder we lost.
It's a bad game plan.
Like, we didn't look like we were going, like, you know what I mean? Like, the effort wasn't there for me.
Yep.
And I know what winning football looks like. Swain, you know what winning football looks like.
Correct.
That's not winning football, man.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we ever going to take that step forward? What are we going to do, I guess? Like, I'm not calling for Heupel, but I'm just saying, what's your game plan then, Heupel? Where can we take that next step? And I'll hang up and listen, guys. Thank you again for the time.
Thank you. Hey, Caleb has to try so hard not to sound like other folks who have jumped off the cliff. 3-4 times he had to say he not calling for Josh Heupel's job. So y'all won't attack Caleb for wanting more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. We haven't looked like a winning championship caliber program. We haven't looked that way because we continue to beat ourselves. The discipline is not there. The toughness is not there. People can see that. That's what this thing is more about. All right, I'm going back to the phones, Ben. Not that phone line. Good morning.
It's Tuesday. Some of y'all need to take a damn Valium.
What's up, Volstorm?
Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're getting upset because Billy Bob from Newmarket, after drinking a suitcase of beer, gets on Twitter and is calling for Josh Heupel's head, and you're taking that seriously, there's something wrong with you. Yeah. You need to have some Twitter discipline and get the hell off the phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is not the fan base. The fan base is saying that this team lacks discipline. Why do people call for Golish? Not because of Golish's play calling, because, hell, I watched USF earlier in the year, and they looked just like Tennessee from 21. No, they wanted Golish because Golish had discipline. Golish was the ass kicker. Alabama had Saban. Georgia has Kirby. Tennessee doesn't have anybody right now. They don't have
Tennessee,
anybody.
They also had better personnel that season. Tennessee was last in the SEC in penalties, and not in the good way in that 22 season. So, like, I feel like Golish is getting a little hyped up on this show. Was he a butt kicker? Yes. Does Tennessee need that a little bit more of that mindset? Yes. There are also times where Golish went too far with being a jerk, quite frankly. So Tennessee needs more of that butt kicking mentality.
But you gotta have balance.
You gotta have balance.
You gotta have balance. Right now, it's too soft.
Yep.
Yes,
it's soft. Yeah,
you're right.
I mean, for crying out loud, even Johnny Majors himself said the practices have to be harder than the games.
Correct.
Yep.
And obviously, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And nobody's calling for Heupel's head. What they are saying, they're saying if Heupel doesn't make the changes he needs to make and the results start to decline, he will get fired.
Yes,
That's a fact.
It's that simple. That's all anybody's been pointing out.
Yeah. Media folks.
Guys, before I go.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Guys, before I go, hey, C-Mac, wake up. See you, boy.
Yeah, media folks, stop giving these fans the energy in a platform to spew that Josh Heupel needs to be fired stuff. Because everyone knows that's just silly. That's silly. There's all these coaching vacancies open, and I'm sorry, I don't see top-tier quality coaches for the amount of vacancies that are open. I don't. So stop giving these dudes platforms. Stop giving them energy. All right, 865-200-5503 is our telephone number. we gotta get a break in here. So we're gonna do that. We'll come back after a brief timeout. 865-255-03 is our telephone number to the Garza Law Hotline. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain here in the Low T Center studio. Guys, you can feel your energy slipping away, losing what makes you, you. It could be low testosterone. Take action now. Low T Center can help reclaim your energy with a quick and simple free T-test. Visit Low T Center and receive pharmaceutical-grade testosterone never compounded like other clinics. Experienced providers increase your testosterone to the level that is just right for you. Treatment is covered by most major insurance with affordable self-pay options available. The best you is waiting. Book your free T-test at trtmvp.com. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Fall sports can be a roller coaster ride for us fans. The excitement, drama, and passion will make us crazy sometimes. I can't manage the games, but I can help you manage your real estate needs while you're cheering on the Vols. Reach out at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain. I am here in the Low T Center studio, lowtcenter.com. Let's go back to the phones, Ben McKee. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Look at me. I can yell on a phone call, too.
Is this Vol Storm?
Is that enough energy for everybody?
Is this Vol Storm? Oh. No, it's not.
What time is it, Swain?
9:36.
Man, my clock says 7:36. You know that?
Yeah, it does, man. Congratulations for being a grown-up and getting up early.
I hate y'all so much.
I love you, man.
I love you, too. How you doing, McKee?
I'm well. How are you?
Another day, another opportunity to be great. Why are people asking or calling for the head of our head coach? We're not, right? Okay, great.
Nobody serious is doing that.
We're not giving them energy, C-Mac. We're talking about real things that can really be done, real issues that need to be fixed. That's lazy. We don't do lazy here.
No, we'll talk about NC State's win over Georgia Tech before we get that any more attention.
We don't do that here.
No, we won't. We won't do that here. Yeah, we definitely don't talk about NC State football here, regardless of what happened this past weekend. Swing, you and I had a conversation in December before the Ohio State game, and at the time there were some personnel coaching changes that needed to take place, and during the offseason that happened. Also part of that conversation, it was something about something Tennessee had won on the road at night in X, Y, and Z time. Part one of my question is, a part of getting better as a coaching staff is, like you said, evaluating and leveling up. How does Josh take that approach in the off season? And is this a broader conversation he is looking at internally? And then, B, we played way too many high noon, early AF football games, and not just for me living in Mountain time zone. Okay. Historically, the past 12 years, we played all those like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock games. Why can't we get up at night?
I don't know.
Is that something that the strength and conditioning coach could help with, our mental toughness?
Well, it hasn't been a problem at home, C-Mac.
Sorry?
It hasn't been a problem at home, night games, dark mode, big games. Like, it hasn't been a problem there. We were up. I mean, I watched these dudes. We were up. We were, it wasn't like it was on the road.
That's fair. All right. Out the door. Boston, you still owe me money. I wear hearing aids because of when you call in. And C-Pain, next time you come at your boy, you better not miss. Okay?
All right,
I want to hear your voice on the call before you say, every time I call, you sleepy. How about you pick up the phone and call somebody then? How about that? Hey, I love y'all. On to the next one.
All right, much love, man. All right, Ben. You want me to hit the text box or your overall thoughts? You want to share those on the last couple of phone calls?
No thoughts on the last couple of phone calls. My only thought is that folks need to reach out to Jennifer Morris for all of their real estate needs. Shout out to Michael and Carly, 2 Swain Event listeners who Jennifer is currently working with. They are 2 of a lot of people who have worked with Jennifer Morris from the Swain Event family to accomplish their real estate needs. And Jennifer is very happy this morning. She says that her shout out is for things being back to normal on the Swain Event. It warms her heart to see Swain trying to talk sense into us and Ben being annoyed with the Twitter responses. Holler if I can help you with any real estate needs, which is the smart thing to do. Swain Event listeners, trust Jennifer. I trust Jennifer. Current and former Tennessee athletes trust Jennifer, and you should too.
City Vol says, I agree with all y'all have said. But if this team loses to either Florida or Vandy to end the season, things are really going to heat up as they should.
I totally agree. Josh Hype, this was a thought I was going to throw in earlier. Swain, sorry to cut you off.
No, go for
but
it.
I know it's weird because you're not going to – we already know they're not going to make the playoffs, but Josh Heupel is going to have to find a way to do one of his best coaching jobs these next couple of months or these next couple of weeks, because fair or unfair to the message on the text box, if you turn around and lose to Florida, I know Tennessee doesn't win in the Swamp, but if you lose to this Florida team, no matter how difficult it's been for the program to win in the Swamp the last 20 years, it's going to get even louder. And even though Vanderbilt is a better football team than you this season, and they have the mental toughness and the discipline and the strength that you are wanting to see from your Tennessee Volunteers, they are the better team. As crazy as that sounds, you lose that game, boy, is it going to get even louder. So I that was something that I was going to point out earlier in the show. Something I was talking about to my coworkers after the game Saturday night is it's weird because you're not playing for the playoffs and you've already squandered what you're playing for this season. But boy, does it get kind of more difficult in a way because you've got two of your bigger rivals. I don't care what people say about the rivalry with Vanderbilt. That's a rival, especially this season. If it wants to be a one-off for some of y'all, that's a big-time rivalry game this season. And you turn around and you play sloppy football and lose those games, and you go 7-5 or 8-4 when the standard is to make the playoffs, it's going to get real loud. And again, we always have to throw in there that I'm not saying that Josh Heupel should be fired at that point. I'm just saying that it will get real uncomfortable this offseason, whether that's fair or unfair.
You lose to Vanderbilt, it's going to be toxic during the offseason. Historically, and I'll say from 2005, because that's when it happened. This century. When Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt, people get fired. I'm not talking about Josh Heupel, but in 2005, about 3 or 4 coaches got fired off that team. When Butch Jones lost to him, people got fired. When you lose to Vanderbilt, heads roll. Vanderbilt's more disciplined right now. Vanderbilt has done a good job. We used to have Barton Simmons on our show, who worked for 247. He has worked with Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. He's been in charge of their personnel, going out, acquiring talent, and he's done an awesome job. He's been phenomenal. And you let Vanderbilt come in here and beat you and push you around. And there's some people over there on campus in that football program that's been here a long time that I'm pretty sure is advising some of these new guys that came from Central Florida and Heupel, like, this ain't the place you want to be if you lose to Vanderbilt around here. This place is special. It's magical. Saturday, almost got a chance to feel that with the win. Georgia week, almost got a chance to feel that with the win. But everything set up for those 2 games to be magical. I mean, just chef's kiss. But we didn't seal the deal and win the game. But with that, and it's no different than other places who have passionate fan bases, LSU, Alabama. When you win, it's the best place on earth, and you don't want to go anywhere. But when you lose multiple games you shouldn't lose, it's toxic as toxic can be. And you can't separate that. Passion is passion. You can't separate when it's good, when it's bad. My advice would be, don't lose to Vanderbilt.
That is
that's my
that
advice.
Is great advice.
That's my advice. Florida game, that's going to be a tough game because those dudes are still believing. They're still playing hard. And from a mentality standpoint, they think it doesn't matter how bad we are, how good they are. It don't matter. We don't lose to Tennessee. We don't. We're tougher than Tennessee. We're going to play for 60 minutes. It doesn't matter if Tennessee is up multiple scores. At the end of the game, they'll find a way to pee it away, and we'll beat the stronger, tougher team when it matters most, and we'll win. That is their mentality down there in the swamp. You got to go down, and you got to beat the Gators.
You can't lose. You are absolutely correct. You can't lose to Florida in their current state.
You can't.
You are ahead of them. You talk about that all the time. You are ahead of them. You're more established as a program. You have, I think you have the better roster just because you've had more stability. Your coaching staff is intact. Like yes, Gainesville is an issue for Tennessee, but that you take that out of it, and Tennessee has no business losing to the current state of the Florida football team. That would not be a good look at all for Josh Heupel, regardless of the history in the swamp for Tennessee. And South Carolina VFL or SC VFL on the text box asks, do these players care enough to beat Florida and Vanderbilt? Will they put the effort in without the possibility of a playoff spot? I don't know. Yeah. I do not know. And that's why earlier when we first started this conversation, why I said that Josh Heupel, I think this is going to be his toughest coaching job of the season, and he's really, really going to have a strong coaching job these next couple of weeks because it is. I think it'll be harder for him to make sure his football team is up for these two games than it will be to make the playoffs. Quite honestly, once you're eliminated and that switch turns off, if it does turn off, you're lost, man. And if that happens, like you said, it's going to be a toxic offseason if those two games don't go the right way. So I don't know the answer to your question, SC VFL. We're all going to find out together. And what you hope, and also what you're worried about, is I think that in these situations, you need your leadership to really come through for you. And I don't know if Tennessee has the leadership on this team to come through in this situation.
It's been better, in the last 2 years, but it's really going to be tested this year because you have a situation like we have right now where, you're not going to the college football playoff. It's no different than sometimes when a coach is fired. Players are like, oh, I don't need to go to class. I'm going to stay out all night. I'm going to get in trouble. And they do have something to play for. They have the pride. You are getting paid. And so
you can probably spoil Vanderbilt's season if they come into Knoxville with 2 losses.
You can beat Florida. I mean, you can
be the first team to win in the swamp since what, 2001? Is that the last time?
2003. Which hey,
I get it mixed up with Tuscaloosa.
Well, 03 is the same for Tuscaloosa too, but like that shouldn't be the reason why you have a lot to play for. Is hey, you get a chance to do something that no one's done since 2003. No, you have a chance to do something that Tennessee, period, has done a lot of in the last 30 years. And so you can beat Florida, you can beat one of your rivals. But here's a point that probably should resonate more with the players. Because the other stuff matters more to maybe outside the locker room, like, oh, you get a chance to beat Florida for the first time since 03, or, pride, getting paid. Hey, man, they may not see it that way because they are a different perspective than we are. But you better want to finish the season because you want to play in a bowl game in Florida and not in a bowl game in Nashville, Memphis, or Charlotte. Because you mess around and lose 5 games and you're 7-5. We make jokes about the Booty Bowl around here in Birmingham. You might be in that thing.
We're going to Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yeah, you might be going to Memphis playing the Liberty Bowl.
Have fun.
I mean, we all love Nashville and we appreciate the good people in the Mid-State and the bowl game they put on, but we ain't trying to play in it. Now, that was Josh Heupel's first year deal. I mean, we ain't trying to play in that thing. We are beyond that. So,
what else do you always talk about too? You talked about this with Boo Carter last week. If he was smart, he'd be wanting to put good film on.
Yeah, that's too late.
I know it is for Boo Carter.
But for the team standpoint, yeah.
I mean, everybody on the team should be wanting to put good tape in the sky because how many veterans do you have on the defensive line that are going to be trying to get a crack at the next level here coming up over the next couple of months? Or you have players that are somebody's going to transfer in this new day and age of college athletics. You better put good tape on because if you don't, then you're messing up your money at your next stop. You're messing up your opportunities. You're messing up the type of school you could go to next if you do transfer. You're messing up the potential amount of money that you could get at your next stop. So, like you always say, you've talked about this for years. If not for anything else, play for yourself and the what you put on film and what you put on tape, because the eye in the sky does not lie. And if you go out there and you loaf like Boo Carter, you are really going to limit your opportunities this coming off season, whether that's looking to jump to place for you and you're trying to find a different spot.
Score touchdown, running hurt, and not seeing a lot of black shirts in the picture, it's not going to look good. on film. It didn't look good on film because I have an all 22 version finally, and it didn't look good. Not off season, but this bye week, I don't see how you don't change up things with the physicality in practice. You look at LSU, and right now they're rolling with the interim and Frank Wilson. Frank Wilson was a former assistant here under Lane. Frank has been assistant at LSU under multiple coaches. Frank Wilson sounded like a dang head coach when he was talking to the media the other day. But per Frank Wilson, Blake Baker, defensive coordinator, is asking for a more realistic look in practices and applicable game-like simulations during practice. Wilson says that will happen, and Tuesday will be a physical practice, giving both sides of the ball a true look at inside run. Bryce Kuhn on Twitter said this. So here's the thing about college football. You want to protect your players. You don't want to, get them hurt in practice. But football is a physical game. It's a contact sport. If you don't hit during the week, if you're not aggressive during the week, you're not physical during the week, how do you expect your players to be physical on Saturday? What's unfair is you don't have a culture of physicality. You don't promote physicality enough. You don't hit enough during practice. The players get out there on Saturdays, and then they don't hit, they don't tackle, they're not physical as you want them to be, and now the players are getting crap from all the fans, and the players are getting blamed. Well, I'm putting blame on the grown-ups, too. You got to hit. You got to hit. You got to be physical. You got to be tough during the week. That's toughness and physicality and aggression. That's not something you just turn on and off like a light switch. You don't turn it off during the week and go, okay, guys, Saturday game, right before the game, we're going to turn it on, and we're going to be tough at the line of scrimmage. We're going to blow up blockers. Like, no. It's an all-the-time thing. It ain't a sometimes thing. It's an all-the-time thing. And so Tennessee is in the same position, it looks like, as LSU. With the bye week, I wonder, will we hear about more physicality in practice? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't going to be able to play soft like you play against Oklahoma, against Florida, or against Vanderbilt and win. You can play soft against Kentucky and win because they're not good. And in that Kentucky game, even though we bombed them over the top with big-time plays, we still couldn't run the football, and they at times still own the line of scrimmage. So a decision will have to be made. Are you risking someone gets hurt in practice, or are you risking getting punked again on national TV and losing to Florida and Kentucky, Florida and Vanderbilt? That's the decision that the staff will need to make.
The way they're dropping with flies, they may need to be cautious.
Well, I don't think you can risk getting punked again.
Well, is that something – I agree with you. Is that something that can realistically change within a week?
Yeah.
I guess it can. I did just watch it with my Steelers. You heard me joking about them going into that Colts game. I thought Jonathan Taylor was going to run for 300 yards against our defense, and they held him to like 46 yards on 14 carries and were physical and tackled well and was a different defense than I had seen up until this point.
Well,
so
Tennessee's defense was different between Kentucky and OKU. The defense was better.
Yeah.
Now, they had their ugly moments late in that football game, but
at that point, I look at the offense for just constantly putting them in bad spots.
Yeah. So it can get better. I apologize if anybody's pissed off by what I said today. It ain't personal. It's just what we all see, and it had to be said. And we'll know a lot about the pride of this football team on the road at Florida. I don't know what we're going to find out at home versus New Mexico State because they're terrible. But
don't you know that they should start George McIntyre and just start getting ready for the George McIntyre era?
I think George McIntyre needs to be the number 2 quarterback.
Well, we've thought that since fall camp, Swain.
No. We thought he was the best quarterback looking. We thought that, well, I'll speak for me. Beginning of season, I felt like he needed to be number 3 because physically he may not have been ready, but I felt like later in the season, which here we are, he needs to be number 2 because he has more of a future here than Jake Merklinger. It's just the truth. And so you have New Mexico State game. You really not going to play George and let Jake play more than George? I mean, you look at the UAB game. We really going to let that happen again?
Probably.
No, that ain't gonna sit well. That's not gonna be good.
That ain't gonna sit well. But do you think something else different is gonna happen?
They don't need
Jake Merklinger is gonna be the second quarterback in the game on Saturday, unless he gets hurt before Saturday.
George needs more reps than Jake Merklinger.
I agree, but do you think that's gonna happen? Yes or no?
I'm just telling you what I think needs to happen.
But what do you think is gonna happen? I can tell by the look on your face and by your refusal to answer the question.
I don't know, man. I'm just telling you what I think should happen.
There ain't no doubt about that. Jake Merklinger is not going to be your starting quarterback next season.
No.
George McIntyre might be.
Correct. AlphaWildlife.com.
The good news is he'll be thrown to Cam Coleman.
No, he won't. Your go-to for wildlife removal. If you're looking to remove the squirrels or the bats or the raccoons, any issues that you're having with critters in your home, not only can Alpha Wildlife remove them, but they can prevent the issue from happening again. They are veteran-owned. They're right here, headquartered in the great state of Tennessee. They serve South Carolina. They serve all parts of Tennessee. They serve some parts of Kentucky. Go to their website, see how they can help you. That is alphawildlife.com. Here on the Swain Event. Ben, it is about that time. I apologize that we couldn't get to every text message, but we definitely got to all of our phone calls, and we appreciate everyone calling in. I echo what everybody else is saying. It's good to have you, here and back covering games. Your takes have even gotten better, too, so –
I don't know about all that.
It's good to have you back and see you again, see you smiling, man, and it's just good to have you, man. It's good to see you. So
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I ain't about to get mushy or anything on you, but it's just good to see you. And man, we'll continue the conversation again on Thursday. I'm not gonna be on Twitter debating folks about things we talked about because I ain't got time to be debating and things taken out of context, and it's better to have a conversation about it so points can be explained. That's why I'm not going to tweet and get into debates about what's going on Twitter. Like, I don't know why other folks are doing it. I see, Ben, you haven't got back into that mode either. It's just really not.
It's not worth it. The good news is I think the vast majority of people agree with us.
I don't see.
I think the most of the fan base is on the same page. That just things need there are adjustments that need to be made.
Yes. Yep. 100%. And hey man, we'll leave it at that, and we'll pick up the conversation on Thursday, and we'll answer questions the best way we can on Thursday. At the end of the day, man, like there's some stuff going on with every program, and some of it don't need to get out. Some of it ain't none of our business. And so we'll talk about things that we feel like are responsible, that we should talk about. And on this show, it ain't about airing dirty laundry and start a bunch of drama. We ain't doing that over here. Okay, so but we'll have a conversation about what's happening, what we see, and a real conversation, a transparent one, and answer the questions. So love to have everybody back on Thursday, 8 a.m. Swain Event, fueled by Dead and Barbecue. For Ben McKee, Go Boss 247, Jason Swain. Hope everyone has a great day. Peace and much love. We are out.